Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to Stretch the Sketch. Now, this is the anniversary of Stretch the Sketch, so it is super fun. What we are going to do is take one of the sketches that we've had over the past couple of years and scrap lift. So I have Karina's layout right here. She used this sketch. I don't remember exactly which one it is, guys. I would have to look back. But this is the original sketch. It is a 12 by 12 sketch, and she made an 8.5 by 11 page. So I'm going to scrap lift her, except I'm going to stretch it, and I am going to have an 18 by 12 page. So that means I'm going to do a 12 by 12 and a 6 by 12 companion page to it. So let's see what I can do. Okay, so I've taken a 12 by 12 sheet of white cardstock, and then I cut a 12 by 12 sheet in half. So now I have my 6 by 12 left-hand side and my 12 by 12 right-hand side. I'm taking my Distress Oxides. I am wetting down a stamping block. I'm wetting down the stamping block after I had the Distress Oxide on it. And then I'm going to use that as the kissing technique to place it on top of my cardstock. Now, I did not gesso the cardstock, so where I put the ink down, that is where it stays. Now, if there was gesso on top of this cardstock, I could kind of move the ink around, put it where I want to put it, but I don't have time for gesso. I just don't have time for it. So I'm going to kind of control where I put the ink down by using that stamp block instead of packaging. I feel like I have a little bit more control with that. So now I go grab some of the Pearl Chroma Mist, and what that's going to do is just give me this little pop of shimmer in some places. So it's basically white, so it's not going to have a whole lot of bam in your face, but it will have little snippets of shimmer around the layout. So I have my 3 photos that are going to go on the right hand side of the page, and I have 1 photo that will go on the left hand side of the page. I cut down this gray paper, this gray polka dotted paper, to 6 by 12 because I needed it to span across the entire page. And then I went ahead and cut my photos down to 5.5. So I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to trim the photos down so that you could see gray all the way around the edges, but I just decided to push them together. So I go ahead and get that snapped down, and then you can see the mixed media poking out underneath of it. I love the way that has turned out. I'm going to take my final photo and go ahead and mat it on the gray cardstock as well. So the reason why I chose this photo for the front is because it is the first photo of the Parade of Princesses. I don't remember exactly what they called this one, but this technically wasn't a parade. This was a cavalcade. This is how Disney got around actual parades in COVID times, in heavy COVID times, I should say. So the princesses all were on these things, and they just waved at you and you waved at them. It basically, guys, it was a parade. Okay, so I'm going to take this floral paper from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I'm going to pop it up underneath of each of the top and the bottom edges of that gray cardstock. I just used the straight edge to make sure it was going straight, and then I used my pen blade to cut the pieces apart. Obviously I didn't cut it apart all the way, so I just ripped it. Now I've got the base of the layout finished, right? Like the sketch and Karina's layout just need just needs to be a few more things. There has to have that vertical line of paper and then some florals. And then I have successfully scrap lifted my Stretch the Sketch. I do put down this darker paper. I have 1.5 inches on this side of the page and 1.5 inches on the other side of the page. Now I did decide to split it at the join on purpose. I figured that would be the best. I didn't want to have this stripe of paper, this stripe of color only on one side of the layout. I figured that that would make it look disjointed when it's got into my album. Now the only thing I will have to do is actually plan out my page that will be on the other side of this, because I will need another page that has a 6x12 either insert or extension. So when I go to put together my album, that'll have to be something that I take into consideration. So now I'm pulling out my gray flowers because, you know, of course, back in the day when Prima put out all their flowers, I had to have all the colors. So I'm layering up two different colors of gray and two different sizes of flowers. So the light gray on the top and the dark gray on the bottom. And I'm just going to create a couple little clusters. Now, I don't make the clusters completely the same. So two of the clusters have 3 flowers and one of the clusters only has 1 flower. I am totally okay with that. It doesn't bother me that my clusters are not the exact same. There are no rules that say your clusters have to be the exact same. Now that I've got the initial flower down where I want it to go, I'm going to grab my Nouveau Deluxe and adhere the second flower to the first flower. And then I'm going to add Nouveau Deluxe again over top of the flowers, because that's how the little rhinestones that I'm using as centers are going to work in there. So I pull out this handy dandy box of gemstones, and it's got a bunch of different colors, but I am definitely going with the gray because I am embracing the gray for sure. Now this is a crystal katana. It is a wonderful thing for sequins, jewels, all the little tiny little bits that you got to pick up and put down. So now that I have the centers on my flowers, I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, it just needs a little bit of something else. Like, just needs a little bit of something else. So I go over to my thickers and I'm looking through and I'm trying to figure out what title I can use. I think about using some gray letter stickers, but I don't have the letters that I want to spell out. And I don't really want to Frankenstein any letters on this layout because I really like it. I think it's super pretty, even though it isn't like super fancy. So I use a pre-made title and then I add in some glitter stars because, hello, glitter stars. So I'm going to put these into the clusters with the florals. And again, these stars are not going to be the exact same. They're just going to be a little bit of a mix and match as well. So that is going to do it for this layout, you guys. Please make sure you check the links down below for everyone who is celebrating the anniversary of Stretch the Sketch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon for another video.